We meet today in the community of Iowa City, which now occupies the homelands of Native American nations to whom we owe our commitment and dedication. The area of Iowa City was within the homelands of the Iowa, Meskwaki, and Sauk, and because history is complex and time goes so far back beyond memory, we also acknowledge the ancient connections of many other indigenous peoples here. The history of broken treaties and forced removal that dispossessed indigenous peoples of their homelands was and is an act of colonization and genocide that we cannot erase. We implore the Iowa City community to commit to understanding and addressing these injustices as we work toward equity, restoration, and reparations.
Excellent. Thank you very much. So our last meeting was May 28th. Staff have provided us with minutes from that meeting. I'm not sure if everyone has had a chance to look at that, but in a moment, once you have, I will entertain a motion to approve them. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes? Thank you, Mark. A second?
I second.
Thank you, Liz. All those in favor? Say aye.
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 Aye. All right, the minutes of our last meeting are approved. Next up in our agenda is a space for public comment on items not on the agenda. Do we have anyone in the gallery that would like to speak to any issues? Great. When you come up, can you please say your name and then we'll take your comment, please.
Hi, my name is Corey Stoglin. I'm a former member of the committee. And I just came to see what you guys were all about and reconnect with Stephanie. I was a member back in 07, 08, and then I left Iowa City to live in Minneapolis for about a decade or more. I'm a civil rights professional, and I've done that for probably about 16 years, both for the Army and as well as for the federal government. So I'm also a mediator as part of that role as well. So I just thought I'd come and say hi to everyone.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Corey.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
And thanks also for your former service to the Human Rights Commission in that role. All right. Next is our correspondence. Stephanie, do we have any correspondence to the commission?
There's the water rights informational panel that's coming up next Monday. That is 6 to 7 at the East Side Educational Center. And then on this Thursday, Kristen will be doing a fair housing training specifically geared to assist persons with disabilities and/or providers who support persons with disabilities so that they're more mindful of the local anti-discrimination laws about housing here. So if anybody's available, please come by and join us. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Stephanie. And we all have this, both notices in our packets and supporting materials. So we can reference those for the dates and times. Doug, making sure you've got the information. The water rights information panel is Monday, July 29th, 6 to 7 p.m. at the Environmental Education Center. And the disability and fair housing training is this Thursday, as Stephanie mentioned, July 25th from noon to 1 p.m.
You're serving lunch?
We are.
Well, no, I mean, that's just a matter of hospitality if you're gonna meet at noon. I don't need lunch. I just,
Well, you can.
that would be right.
Just checking, Doug, you weren't trying to come in, were you?
Just acknowledging that I have the packet and the materials. Thank you.
Excellent. All right, so tonight, our next agenda item on the updates and outreach and engagement by the police department, we are not able to have a representative here tonight. But they have provided us with a pretty thorough handout, which we all should have in front of us in one of the stacks. One second. So they've sent their apologies and have given us an update on the outreach. Sounds like they had a busy end of June and early July. They've completed Safety Village towards the end of June and have recently completed their EMS camps for junior high and high school early this July. They discuss the kids learning traffic rules during the Safety Village and teaching the rules of the road, such as signs, lights, pedestrian rules, etc. Sounds like they had a great time with the kids at that camp. The EMS camp was also a great success in this update, and they said that public safety had a presentation on a day in the life and were present in all of the separate groups as mentors. Public safety also participated in the Al-Aman Center, the Eid al-Adha. Someone's going to have to correct me here.
Yes, Eid al-Adha.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Community events with the Iowa City Fire Department. And they took so many pictures with the community. Maybe the most fun event of the summer to date. And their intern, Perla, who's fluent in Spanish, also did a presentation at Hilltop and Coles Park on domestic violence, child welfare, driving questions, and neighborhood watch, and answered various important questions. So sounds like they've just completed a really busy summer of outreach events, and that they'll be moving into regular duties, including presentations, community awareness, and community outreach as the year picks up again after the summer. Just noting, they've shared a couple of upcoming events and then a number of very beautiful pictures. So they've highlighted for us National Night Out at Weatherby Park and Christ the King Church. That's on August 6th. Christ the King Church is from 6:30 to 7:15 p.m. Weatherby is from 5:30 to 8 p.m. They've also highlighted the Ready Set School. That is on August 9th from 12 to 7 p.m. That will have school supplies and as well as dental and eye screenings, vaccinations, and haircuts. Really maybe an all-in-one stop for getting your kids ready for school, it sounds like. That's at 4261 Oak Crest Hill Road Southeast here in Iowa City. So I would just thank our police department for providing that update. So such a thorough update, even if they couldn't be here. Does anyone have any questions we want to collect for them or any other?
Well, I just want to say that Kevin and Joshua did a wonderful job. They accepted the invitation on short notice, and they were so welcoming and generous of their kind, their time and their ability even to handle that many kids at once. I think even they were surprised that even the older, children we have, even the teens, they were asking so many questions and interested in being officers when they grow up. And so I think this is the first event ever as a Muslim community we participate, with the police department, the fire department. So I had the privilege of organizing everything. And I was, thrilled, to see more than 500 people attending the event then. And so hopefully we're looking forward for more participation and involvement with the different departments in town. So it was a great time with them, and we appreciate their work and their service too.
Excellent. Thank you, Viana.
Yeah, they included my picture too.
Excellent. Great. Okay. Well, we'll just keep moving through that agenda then. With thanks to the police department for sharing those updates again. That's fantastic. So next we have on our agenda support for Community Transportation Commission. We've been discussing this previously, but I don't see Jeremy here. So, and I think we can hold on that agenda item for now then and discuss later or at a subsequent meeting. So next, we have the Water Rights Information Panel. Is there anything more that we should discuss on this? No. Okay, so we have covered this. We're moving right along. And so next we're going to go to, this is information that has been provided in our packet from Viana on the Palestinian Children's Relief Fund. So as we all stack that on top, Diana, I wondered if you might like to tell us about this
Yeah.
and open up discussion from there.
Okay, sure, thank you. I think back a few weeks ago, I think I got an invitation last month of, from the Engler Theater, to participate in one of the opening, sessions to go through, the initiation of this event and to see if, the interest of different organizations and people to participate with them to co-organize or just to advertise or anything like that. So I had the privilege of joining them in that meeting. We had different organizations as well there. So mainly it's, as they stated, the benefit, it's an event. It's called, Benefits for Palestine, which is gonna have two events, separate events in August. And the main description for it is the Benefits for Palestine will take place in August 14th and 15th in downtown Iowa City. It's going to be presented in collaboration with different organizations. Revival is going to be, sponsoring, all the events. So any tickets and the revenue of the tickets is going to be going straight, to the Palestine, the Palestinian children. Which is called, the Palestine Children's Relief Fund, is the primary humanitarian organizations in Palestine, which currently delivering crucial and life-saving aid in Gaza. It's going to be 2-night events. It's going to feature local artists, activists, and community members, spreading, awareness about the genocide that's going on in Gaza. And, there are going to be performances, different musicians, artwork, tabling, spoken words, different things. So it's all just to stand in solidarity with the Palestinians, to join the call for an end to the genocide going on in Gaza. So the tickets is gonna be first night at Gabe's, $15. The second night is gonna be $25. And then there's just, there's still, they did the advertisement, the flyers for now, but they are hoping to get more organizations on board. And this is why we were invited, but, we did not have a meeting during June. And we asked for an extension until we vote on it here and we see if we are on the same board or not. So they're hoping that one of the Human Rights Commissions, if we agree to go speak on both nights or one of them, just, they give you usually 5 to 10 minutes, I think mostly 5 minutes to speak, to introduce yourself, to speak about the organization a bit, and then to just to speak a few words about what's going on in Palestine as well. Tabling is welcome as well. If the commission would like to have a table with information, that is welcomed as well. So I'm not sure this, and you have the flyer. This is if you can't see it, this is
What's
what.
necessary for us to have a table?
I don't know, it just, let's go back to Stephanie, if you ever done something like this before, if you want to have a table there.
So is this is the venue is either in Gabe's or,
It's both different days, but they try to do the similar things for both nights.
so where would they have but this is not a vendor, that you have table?
Yeah, but they're gonna have a designated area,
Mhm.
for people who comes a little bit before or after to go through. It could be cultural things, it could be intersect between even, the African communities or people who share the same struggle, they went through the same, the same history and the same backgrounds, who
It
suffered.
might be like at the Lunar New Year event where there's tables behind the seating or
They
in the vestibule.
They specified where they're gonna put the tabling. There's it's not gonna be in the same area where they have the musicians or the performances.
Oh, down in front.
I think I should have.
Okay.
I think it was in one of those printed papers.
Yeah, because I'm trying to picture the English, and there's only that space in the front where they
Well,
sell stuff, so,
I think it's gonna be upstairs. The tabling in Englert is gonna be upstairs. I think, as I understood.
okay.
It was my first time ever to go to Englert. I've been here since 2015. So and when we met, there was a tornado sirens going on.
wow.
And we finished the meeting in the restrooms.
Wow.
So that's something to remember, but it went
Mhm.
well.
So I'm just remembering the Lunar New Year where there was, when you go in the gate through the door, then there's that area where they were distributing red rabbits and things, but then you go into the actual theater and it swoops down. I don't remember anything down in front by the stage, but maybe so. But there were also some tables in the back where you could,
As I said, I said
was
they
dark.
mentioned, yeah, I said they mentioned in Englert it's gonna be upstairs. But in Gibbs, I never been to Gibbs before, so I have no idea.
Mhm.
So what are they looking for? The HRC, is it more of a sponsor or is it more of a presence?
It's whatever within our capacity as a
Mhm.
commission. So co-presenting,
We have the capacity for both.
yeah, so that's awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've heard in your ask too, like basically, permissions for someone to officially represent the Human Rights
Yes.
Commission.
Yes, definitely.
That's something that we should agree on as a group,
Mhm.
in that kind of official representation
Yeah.
capacity. And then it sounds like if we wanted to go as far as including the Human Rights Commission kind of logo in terms of
Mhm.
that for supporting the event, we could also discuss that.
Yes.
And then there is also the tabling option. So those
Mhm.
are the three asks
Yep.
I heard. Is
Yep.
that
That's correct.
comprehensive?
Yes,
Okay.
uh-huh.
Okay.
Well, I believe this is human rights matters and, I believe human rights should be represented. I know myself, I'm out of town on the 14th and 15th of August. I can't speak for other, but I believe this is human right issue that we are dealing with in the world. This is where human rights need to be present to addressing this issue and speaking on those issues. So, I'll be all for being present and speaking out. Especially talking about all the children's, and everything that's going on.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Well,
I'd
let
be
me-
supportive of that presence also.
Awesome. Some people, they might question, I will also get the question, why do we have to participate or why you have to be involved in such a thing? But, nowadays, even with the election going on and the candidates, the presidency here in America and things, they are using even just, the support of the genocide sometimes to their, to their benefits publicly. So when you are as, candidates or as conventions going on, and you're using this publicly, so we're not supposed to shy away or to try to say, no, this has nothing to do with us being American here in America. No, it's really like, it's embedded within, the layers of politics in here. And we have to stand out and say, yes, it's a universal human rights and we have to be part of it. And up to now, the death toll, it exceeded 40,000. But they did a comprehensive study and survey, and I forgot the organization, but it was an Al Jazeera net, that they said up to now, they expect to have a death toll of 180,000. Because all of the people, they're still trapped under the rubble, and all those kidnapped all those, hidden mass graves. So it is a catastrophe. And just today, earlier I was watching, the CBS, and there is a doctor called Dr. Mark Perlmutter. I don't know how to say his last name, sorry. Perlmutter. And he said all of the disasters that he has seen combined in 40 different missions, 30 years, of service. He witnessed the ground zero, the earthquakes, different, area that they were exposed to wars and genocide. He said all combined does not equal the level of carnage that he saw in Gaza in a period of 1 week only. So that, it just, if you watch the news, you can tell. So it is something that's not only because I'm a Palestinian that I care for, it's as a human, as somebody, we cannot have selective empathy. We cannot choose and select who we have to feel with and who we have to support to. This is a human right, this is a civil right. And, I think Palestinian children are even more worthy than animals to care for. Nowadays, the animal, right people and those things and other groups, they're standing so strong for other things, but we have to stand so strong for our children back there. I truly appreciate those who's, I'm sure that most of you understand, my points and where I'm coming from, and truly appreciate your support.
I see the faces of the children. I see the faces of their parents. So I'm very supportive of this.
So I will just add as we kind of come down to this end of the table as well. For two reasons, I think for many reasons, I think this is a great initiative. I think there's definitely ways that we can support that as a Human Rights Commission. I just wanted to note, we do have the official resolution from the Iowa City Council from January of this year, which recognized Oh, I had it in front of me, but basically that would support and recognize the that would recognize the destruction that's occurred and the mass violence, frankly. The other thing is that I don't know much about the charity that you've selected, but I was able to see that on Charity Navigator, the Palestinian Children's Relief Fund has received 4 out of 4 stars. It seems like fairly consistently. That's usually a good sign. So I don't have like any issues with the
Yeah.
approach and the structure with which that you're creating this event. I think it would be excellent for us to show up in some way that we agree to as the Human Rights Commission.
Well, I have emailed Stephanie at the last minute, and I'm sorry for that. But about the organization itself, the fund relief thing, so she can maybe forward it to the rest of you. But if you Google it, it just you'll find it and you can read more about it.
Great.
But
Thanks for
but the
doing-
Engler, they are the one who came up with everything, so we were just guests at their their place, and they're just discussing the way that they're gonna go from there.
Yeah, thanks for doing that.
You got Greg Brown, Peter Brown, and Dave Moore. Good on you.
Right there.
Oh, these three at Engler, the top three. I mean,
Oh.
I'm a boomer. This is happening.
I mean,
Oh,
sorry, I was just gonna say, generally people, we all know people argue about politics. It's one of the biggest things that people argue about. I personally, more than appreciate events like this simply because it's not an argument about politics, but it's more so just everybody coming together speaking about human rights. People, it's not Democratic or Republic. It's not Israel versus Palestine. It's just simply those residents of Gaza, those people who are, witnessing or, experiencing these type of tragic events, these genocides. Those are the people that deserve human rights more than a lot of these people. So I think I am very appreciative for events like this.
yes, as well. At our meet and greet, there was also a discussion around the need for our committee to show more support on this topic. It was really talked about as well. And another person had mentioned that the more of these we can do as a meet and greet, the more we can hear what the community needs. So I feel like that will fall under that umbrella as well.
So it seems as though we have a general consensus unless there's disagreement on that. If so, please let me know by raising your hand. But I see 2 things that we probably need to agree to. One is if there's anyone who's available who would like to come and speak at the event and potentially also table. And then 2, in terms of using the Human Rights Commission's logo or like our banner, if you will, just seeing with Stephanie and with the city if there's anything that we need to do with that in order to be able to use that.
No,
Okay.
I mean, as long as there's consensus, that's fine.
Okay, great. So then we'll kind of, I'll call a vote of general consent, if you will, but on that part, but first,
You had a third thing you asked us about, and that was dollars.
that was what, sorry?
Dollars?
No,
Oh, I thought we were talking
The
about present
sponsorship.
speaker and dollars.
So
Okay.
presence, so when we're showing up in our capacity as commissioner.
yes,
Okay.
yeah.
And we are representing as human right with our logo.
Right.
Okay.
So, and now we're talking about if anybody can speak on behalf of the human right.
Yeah, so just to, that's a good roundup, Roger, but just, I had said 3 things. One was the kind of a speaking role, second was tabling, and third was lending our logo.
Right.
Lending in the figurative sense, not
Yeah.
financial. So on the first 2, I kind of joined that up of that volunteer would likely do both things in my mind. If you're going to that event, that maybe you'd speak on behalf of the commission as well as table. Is there anyone who's available over those dates who would like to attend?
I was curious if we should have Viana do the speaking on behalf of Human Rights Commission, like that would be really powerful.
There are
But-
two different events too, but
Okay.
like 2 different days too. So anyone, I have to check the schedule, but anyone is welcome. We're just one commission and
Yeah, that's
we
what
share
I
the
was.
same beliefs and the same, feelings and the same, understanding of the scale of this and, that we have to be part of it. So if anyone is interested,
I have conference on those dates.
You have
That's okay.
oh, I mean, I would have loved to. I'm in India.
Oh,
I'm actually very interested in participating.
I think you're a good
Okay, awesome.
candidate, for sure.
Fantastic.
I will definitely be there.
Mhm.
All right,
That would be amazing.
Wonderful. Thank you.
I'll be there.
all right, we have
On the 15th, I can do.
On the 15th.
Mark on the 15th, Idris on the 14th.
Do we know what days are the 15th and 14th?
It's
and
Wednesday and
Wednesday and
Thursday.
Thursday.
Perfect.
Okay, and
Mhm.
Thursday.
Mhm. There's a chance I might be able to join you all on the 14th, but not the 15th. So maybe I'll just can be in contact by email.
Okay, sure. Awesome.
Do they provide the table then?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay.
That's what I understood. I
Okay.
can double check.
Okay.
Now, you said they give you 5 to 10 minutes to speak?
Yeah.
What time are these things?
Oh,
I
We don't have time yet.
think it's, yeah, we don't have time.
There's no time.
It's not on the red flyer either?
Mm-mm.
Mhm.
maybe I selected the wrong flyer, then I can check for it.
Maybe on a QR code.
Yeah.
So, just to finish the conversation around tabling and speaking, Stephanie, depending on the answer to the next question we're going to cover, do you think it'd be possible for us to have some Human Rights Commission materials that we
Mhm.
could have at our table? Okay.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll just send out an email close in time and see who's available to pick up the stuff in the tablecloth.
Great, okay. I was going to move next to just kind of seeing about a general consensus, just a vote by ayes again, like we did for approving minutes on this activity and using the Human Rights Commission logo. Before I do so, Doug, I saw you come on video on Zoom. Is there anything you'd like to say?
No, I finished my dinner, so I figured I would come on video and be more present. So yeah, no, nothing to say. Wish I could be
Okay.
back. That's like the day before I get back from my work trip. So unfortunately, I'll miss that event, but it sounds compelling and very important. So thank you all.
Thanks, Doug. Okay, so I'll just do a general, in a moment, if you agree to the Human Rights Commission lending our presence and our logo to this activity, will you just say so by aye?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Nays? No, okay. All right, so Viana, we will look forward to being either participating in that event, or hearing updates on it
Okay,
after
sure.
the fact.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay, so next on our agenda is we need to look at rescheduling our dates for the September meeting. Stephanie, I wonder if I could turn it over to you
Yeah,
to
you
set us up for that.
can. So I inadvertently booked the September Lynn series for the same time. I didn't realize that was a commission meeting date. But so it's actually in partnership with the Iowa City Public Library. But we have fostering welcoming environments through inclusive dialogue workshop facilitation, followed by fireside chat. That will be 5:30 to 7:30. That on September 24th. So I apologize. In meeting room A at the library. And we're working on flyers and getting the information news releases out. So so that each of you know if you're interested in attending. So to make a long story short, yes, I inadvertently booked an event on the date of your meeting. So I don't know. I mean, certainly I don't think we have to figure out the date here, but if people want me to send out like a doodle or something,
Sure.
I can do that. And just trying to figure out what dates to send out is the 4th, is that week of what is usually the 4th Tuesday. So if we did like the Monday or the Wednesday or the Thursday, is that generally that last week of the month a good time, or do you want me to look at an earlier week in September?
For me,
I
it's
think
fine.
The Monday or the Wednesday is fine with me.
Okay. I appreciate it and apologies for that. It didn't even, and then I was like, oh,
Yeah.
but we've already, the contract's been signed and everything, that the flight's been booked, so they're coming from Miami, so
if you're looking at using this room, the city charter also meets on Thursday, so 26th.
Oh, okay. So we'll plan, can we tentatively just plan on then the 25th of September?
Works for me.
And the reason why I think you probably should meet in September is just because the Human Rights Awards will be
Yeah.
due, they're actually due the preceding Thursday, so just kind of
Yeah.
to go over that stuff and get ready
Great.
for the awards.
Okay.
So thank you, and again, sorry about that.
So, everyone, it sounds like let's go ahead and pen September 25th into our
Yeah.
calendars and make that adjustment. Stephanie, will we have a new commission member by that time?
Yes.
Great.
Yep.
Okay,
Mhm.
excellent. That will be very exciting. Okay, so the next one, I believe, is a reminder about and information about our upcoming Human Rights Awards ceremony on Wednesday, October 23rd. Stephanie, can I hand it back over to you? Anything more on that?
Just that we're soliciting, or I should say you are soliciting nominations, currently, and everybody should have 2 flyers. So when you go to the grocery store, go get your coffee in the morning. If there's a billboard, please try to put them up around town so we can spread the word, or put them in, the office building, but just, and if anybody ever needs more, flyers, just let me know, because they do tend to be surprisingly powerful in spreading information in addition to social media and news releases. So
Great. And I see that nominations are due by September 19th.
correct, yes.
And then do we have a time for the awards dinner?
It will be,
Breakfast.
Breakfast. Thank you.
commissioners will need to be there by 7. No, 6:45, 6:45. 6:45 to like 6:50 probably, because folks that are being honored tend to show up pretty much right at that time too. But the actual program will start at 7:30, and it's at the View rooftop.
Great. I think it's always really wonderful when leaders across our city attend as well. I think it's great that they are often present. So we'll have to make sure that invite gets to them too. All right. So then item number 12 on our agenda is to schedule a retreat date to revisit the strategic plan from 2022. Again, I'm going to turn this back over to Stephanie to walk us through some of those points.
And just, being an observer at your last few meetings, I'm not sure how relevant or how good of a fit the strategic plan is. That is almost 4 years old. 2 years old, excuse me, I can count, 2 years old. But there's been a lot of turnover on the commission, and just wondering if you want to, meet with somebody who would facilitate that to get it more in line with current strategies.
Yes.
Yep.
And things that the commission is actually doing now versus what they were doing back in 2022. So I thought maybe before November, you could try to squeeze something in, or maybe those first few weeks in November.
Yep.
Or you could wait until the new year. The concern with that is if the grant timeline doesn't change, then that you have a lot going on. And then if you wait until spring after the grants have been decided, then you're kind of already 4 months into the new year. So that's why I thought it might just be a good idea to meet for a couple of hours. Of course, we would provide, a meal and, any support or accommodations commissioners need, but just to kind of go over that and see where it can be updated, modified, or maybe even eradicated, and just start with something new.
My question is, if we're looking at November, do we have any members getting off the commission?
Yeah, that's
In
what I was just
December.
gonna look here.
Because
It depends. You're correct. Every year you lose 3 and gain 3. Some people may re-up.
Gandia, Cola,
So-
Stevens are gone in December.
So if you do think it's better to wait until, I mean, the grants are usually discussed at a special meeting in late February to early March. So
Yeah.
if you preferred, we can just keep it an agenda item and just move it to spring or March of 2025 too, which is fine. I just think that in listening to each of you speak, and I think even some of the struggles with the subcommittees, I think kind of the barriers that were established before may need to be expanded, or just kind of revamped to be more.
I actually think it's gonna help a lot to revisit, so
Mhm.
maybe November will be a good idea to kind of refresh. Even though even if we lose three, we still gonna have a good number to carry forward, so let's move forward with that plan.
I agree. And also by then in January, technically it'll be around 3 years old at that point. So I think
Yes.
it'd be great to do it earlier
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
I totally agree. I think it would be awesome to have John V and Doug's thoughts as well, like incorporated, in this year. So,
Yeah.
Stephanie, I think it'd be wonderful to.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll reach out to some facilitators and get some solid dates from them for November, and then I will get those sent out to you so we can get it on the calendar.
You know,
It'll be, yeah, go ahead, sorry.
I was just gonna say, one of the things I'm looking forward to is hearing about some of the meet and greet insights. And I wonder if maybe too, that might give some time for more meet and greets and to hear from the community what they want from the Human Rights Commission. Obviously, that's not a sample set. But it's a great way for us to hear, what our community that's showing up to those things anyway, see that they would like from us.
Do you want that now?
In a second.
Yeah.
Roger, sorry.
I was just gonna say, as you're looking at facilitator, if the same facilitator that we use for the strategic planning, if she's available, it'll be even a bonus because not only she was great at leading the group through that process, but I know she's a great facilitator as well, so.
I can reach out to her.
Okay, well, thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you.
So now we'll go into our commission committees. So speaking of the ways in which we've divvied up our work based on the strategic plan from 2022. Dr. Liz, you were very excited to come in. So I actually wonder if maybe we want to reverse the order
Sure.
and start with you both first.
Yeah.
And then I want to make a note. Oh, everyone does have an assignment right now, right? So we're all set on that. Actually, we don't have to cover that. Everyone has their assignment. So we'll just go through the updates. So Dr. Liz.
Yes. Of course, my partner, she can also share. So we had a great time. I mean, we had a lot of support. Some of you were there also to help us and to bring in the crowd. We had about 8 people really take the time to fill out the cards, but we also had some discussions as a group. A few highlights that I can talk about, even though we're still trying to collect all the information. A lot of the folks really were aware of our commission, but they were not too sure how to or if they can attend. And then they also talked about the need for more support around the food. Apparently, there's no EBT in the summer, and some of the folks had talked about that's a need. There's also a need to support more education in the community, in the schools, rights with trans, and more of us in the community. So really access to the members, being able to have that sort of that one-on-one interaction, get to know the name, the person. They really were appreciating that. Like some of the folks, they stayed the whole time, even though it was sort of like, you know, come for a minute, grab some food, grab a drink, and someone really stayed the whole time, which was really impressive. Did I miss anything?
No, it went great. Like, the only thing that if we do it again, that I might note that, I think because of the library having a side room is different than being visible in the open areas. So, like if we do it, like if we try to participate within other events and we have just a place for us to be there, where it's already crowded and people are walking by, So, you know, we're gonna be always standing there and showing ourselves, you know, and we have visibility that they can, you know, feel more encouraged to come and talk.
Yeah.
But like the setting of the library, like that's the only thing that I think, you know, if we did it somewhere else, we would have had more people.
Yeah, there was a little while when I was there and I was kind of the barker in the hallway. It's like, "I'm gonna go there, there's vegetables, there's fruit, go."
Yes, it was.
Yeah, Mark did an awesome job, you know, so he was a nice company.
Um,
Yeah, thank you.
Other places that folks indicated was they heard they were able to hear about it online. The Prairie Lights, a flyer, the library, so they were able to say where. Yeah.
The thing that I haven't seen our flyer, you know, on the library entrance when they have this bulletin boards where they have, I was looking for our flyer, it wasn't even there. So,
It was taken there. So you mean
Yeah.
when you're on either side?
yes, so it wasn't there. So I was telling, you know, Dr. Les that, oh, we missed the opportunity of showing people
Yeah.
that we're gonna be here, you know, this day.
Well, some point it had to be up because I remember one of the responses said they saw it on the board at the library. Now, if you were just looking on the left-hand side, it probably wouldn't have been there. It would probably have been on the right-hand side under the city stuff.
Or maybe it
Once-
just got lost or hidden underneath.
Yeah,
thing.
but
You never know.
Usually they put our stuff under the city stuff on the right-hand
Well,
side.
we tried for a sandwich board, but they told us the fire marshal wouldn't allow that it was a hazard.
Yes, and that was strange too. But I think, you know, we did a great job, you know.
Yeah.
It's the first try of its kind,
Yeah.
you know, so as I said, if we can manage, you know, to repeat it, you know, replicate it, but in the open.
Yeah, more
know,
in the open, yeah.
So I think that will,
Yeah.
you know, be a better deal.
And there was a news person there. Do you remember what station that was? I don't
No.
remember. It might be in the notes. And they came to interview, why are we doing this? And what was the intended impact? And how do folks, you know, connect with the commission? So we were able to answer all those questions. Yeah. So yeah, I think we did a pretty good job.
Thank you both. Thank you.
Good job.
Do you have any other updates from your committee? Any other plans for the upcoming months? Sounds like you've been very busy.
Yes, we have been. But we plan to, so that was a big one. You're right. It was our, you know, it's she and I are new and we wanted just to get our feet wet and being able to talk about it and be comfortable with how we talk about the commission and our work and our impact. But I think we're ready now to move on to visit the other folks now, yeah. Or maybe do another meet and greet as well.
Agree.
All right, so moving on to reciprocal relationships. Roger and E and Mark.
Made some notes.
Okay, go.
So we met on May 27th, and Roger and I decided we'd call the SJRE grants applicants who didn't receive a grant. And so then we each did that, and I contacted 10. I don't know how many you contacted. 7. And then we met again on the 21st to review what we'd received. I wanted to just share with you some learning that I had that, first of all, that they were grateful that I called generally. And their projects and programs found other funding generally. The interesting thing they asked for, could there be help in the future to complete the SJRE grant application? And I said, well, we have these seminars. And they said, no, we need somebody beside us. And it awakened me to the possibility of maybe a commissioner that was no longer on the commission, or maybe one of us. If you want to fill out a grant, maybe you could talk to us and maybe we could help you. And the other thing they were very clearly carrying the torch for social justice, racial equity. They still have a passion. Everybody I talked to had a passion for that.
Great.
You know, one of the things that Mark and I did before we even divided the people that we were gonna call, we wanted to make sure that we're calling the people that we had a relationship with. So we're not just, because this is the people that did not get the grant.
It wasn't
So we
blind.
didn't want to create any more feelings. So we divided And when we call these people, we already had a relationship with them. So,
Thank you.
and yes, first people were grateful that they got at least follow through. Somebody called them, even though they didn't get the grant, but they still got a call. And yes, there were some people that were bitter that they didn't get the grant, but because they got a call from a familiar person or familiar voice, that tone were taken down and we were able to have a conversation on those matters. And yes, we got a couple people that ask if they can get help on filling out the grant application, which in that moment say, well, we can't help you unless we help every other person because it wouldn't be fair. So you have to attend those seminars that we offer because we have talked about this in the past. Some people have grant writer in their organization, some people don't. So we talk about, couple people I talk about, hey, maybe talking to university, there's people, in writing program that can help and things like that. But overall, the sentiment, they were just grateful that they got somebody from the human rights call them back to ask about their project. And most of the organization, the big organization, their project moved forward. It was those smaller startup organizations that we knew those projects were not gonna go anywhere and they didn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
So, but overall, it was a positive experience to kind of call these people and just follow up. So.
I was going to add to that. Last week, I went to the Foreign Relations meeting when they had a panel of Mandela Fellows.
Mhm.
And the Mandela Fellows, apparently there were 50,000 applicants. And so there was this cadre of Mandela Fellows, and it was interesting to hear them talk about the application process. It sounds a lot like ours.
That's because Sylvia was involved in both. So Sylvia helped us rework our application process.
Okay, so
And
I'm glad I
Sylvia
brought it to our attention.
Professionally runs that fellowship. Well, her organization runs that fellowship program, I should say. So I think it makes sense that she would bring in some of those.
Some
insights.
of this.
Yeah.
All right, so it sounded so familiar.
Yeah.
Thank you for enlightening me on
Yep,
that. But I
absolutely.
want you to just know it's out there. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Well, can I just ask a question? Like, are those people who ask for writing assistant, is it due to language barrier or something else?
I don't think it was language barrier. I think some of those startup, these people don't write grants.
Yeah.
And when we read our grants, you can tell which organization they write a lot of grant.
Mhm.
And we talk about that even when we're reviewing the grants. There are some of those people, they just never write grants.
And
so-
when I reminded them of the first paragraph in a newspaper article about who, what, when, where, how, that was all like I turned a light on for them. Oh, I can do that.
I wanted to add a question as well. So there were a number of applications that we didn't fund, mostly because they weren't project-based. It was sort of general funding
Yeah.
towards their entire effort. I wondered if you had any insights from that, or if it was we do try to communicate that to the community of, it's much easier if you tell us and give us a, a more detailed budget about more of a finite or, start and finish kind of activity within a larger program and within a larger sort of effort. But did you get any feedback about that, of how we can consider that and how we consider that communication for next year?
With one applicant, we ended up having a longer discussion because, and I'm not gonna name their project, but their application seemed like they were starting a business.
Uh-huh.
And I kind of had to explain to them that this is supposed to be project-based. Their application was not one specific project. They talk about the multiple things that they were gonna do here, they're gonna consult here, and those are not why these grants are there. We're trying to promote social justice and racial equity. Give us a project on what are you doing to promote that. So we ended up, having a conversation, and I'm hoping next year they apply, they actually come up with a project. And I think the lack of understanding, maybe that's what also made a lot of people angry because they felt that they should have gotten the grant because they were addressing the problem that exists in the racial equity, but they did not get the grants. Why? So,
In the same vein, I talked to one who had breadth. And I said, we need particularity so that you can have a sense of accomplishment. Because if you're all over the map, we won't have any kind of particularity. I also talked to one who they used AI. And I said, I think AI is fine, but you have to go back and put your voice to it. And it took a little while for them to understand what I was saying, but I said, we want to hear from you.
yeah, I think
Good question.
for some people, it was just good that you can come back and give a little feedback because we don't do that. You know, we just say you didn't get the grant.
Yeah.
These people got the grants because of their score, but so it was. But I think having some relationship helped. So,
Yeah, I imagine so.
And I think we were faithful with our charge as a subcommittee.
Yeah.
It felt good that way, fulfilling.
So how many of them they asked to have the rubric or they checked it out, you know?
Say again?
Some of them, did they have an access to the result or to the notes that we had in the rubrics or no?
nobody asked me for the
Nobody
rubric.
asked? Okay.
But the people that wanted to see the rubric already asked for the rubric long time ago. Nobody asked me to see the rubric. So
You mean no, we did have people request it through the
Yeah.
office.
so
Yeah.
There it is.
no one asked me for the rubric.
I'm so painfully organized.
I was just wondering, like, if they went back to the notes or they addressed specific things, like the commissioners, they wrote this, or there's something against the grants for this reason.
No.
Well, thank you both for that update and for doing that effort. Same question to you. Have you had a chance to think about what comes next for your committee and the next phase of work?
Well, usually we set up a meeting, we meet, and we kind of look at our responsibility, and so
I did want to mention, I was not able to attend that meeting, but after the response and gathering from their experiences was it's great to take down these notes and considerations for what I'm able to call the rest of the organizations who were not able to get the grant.
Great, thank you. Excellent. Okay, so
I
then,
wonder if our committee then should consider where we want to go with this. Just anticipating the November meeting, anticipating what we'd like to see in the strategic plan. I'm not pushing that, that would be something we need to talk about.
yeah, we're just gonna have to talk about our goals and see.
mhm.
We might not have a subcommittee after that.
Well, I think it's actually a great prompt for all of the committees to consider too, as we're meeting, about our honest reflections about this separation of work, what we've been able to focus on
Mhm.
through these three different strategies or three different kind of homes, if you will, but then also what should remain and what could be done away with, and
Yeah.
what kind of feedback would we have for whatever facilitators brought in. So I think it's a great prompt, and maybe I'll just encourage all of us to bring that back into our committees.
And the city council's actually going to have a work session here at some point this fall to go over all city grants. And so, there could be changes that come about because of this meeting
Yeah.
that the city council will have to, so.
Get us more money.
I think it's to go more over
I think they're looking at unifying things maybe.
and how, things, the selection process and things like that, so yeah.
Yep.
And I thought about it this morning when I woke up at 5 o'clock, that there were days when I woke up at 5 o'clock to go through that book. It is arduous work. And especially when we have as many as we did,
Yep.
and trying to be faithful.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm. It's hard. Stephanie, just on that point, when they choose a date, would you maybe just let us know so that we know maybe when we can expect a new directive from that work session?
Yes, and I know the commission had also talked maybe about changing the time of the grant too, and so,
Yeah.
which you may have to depending.
It's like,
Right.
welcome to the commission here, do this.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
exactly.
I mean, you could push it back a little, not too much, because of the end of the year is that June
Yeah.
30th, but
Okay.
But we'll just see how things flow with the city council and when they get it on their work session, because it may be that you will have to delay it until you get more direction from them, so.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you. All right, building bridges. I don't know if we have much of an update. I know we had in our last meeting, and it's in the minutes as well, agreed to take forward and the communication with the Transport Commission effort. And so I know we did attempt that. John V, you attempted that. I don't know if
Yeah,
there's
I think
any.
we were supposed to meet with Laura and there was like an,
Mhm.
you know, yes, overlap, so we need to redo
Yeah.
all of that.
Yeah. So we need to pick up a set of conversations with some city councilors regarding that transportation commission. And then I think all three of us, we were in travel of some sort this past month. So we just need a chance to get on the same page with one another again. So look for more from us very soon. Doug, anything else from you?
As I sit here on a work trip traveling, that's, yeah, I agree. That's exactly exactly the update. So yeah, we've had really good conversations, but yeah, just need to regroup and have some time where we can get together.
All right. Any questions for us? Before I move this on? Okay. So now we'll go to our staff announcements. So Stephanie?
So I do have a few things. So you have a book in front of you, Wastelands, The True Story of Farm Country. So that author, it will be at the Boyd Law School. It's the One Community, One Book. I know I've said that a few times, but it's the selection for 2024. And the author will be at the Boyd Law School on October 20th from 3 to 4:15 to talk and have public engagement about the book. So if you're available and have read the book, please go to support the program. And then the other book, and Mark, I think you already have it because it seems to me you stopped by and I gave it to you in hand. But if you peek over Roger's shoulder, you can let me know if you don't have it and I will get it to you. But
You
Okay.
read it.
okay. Okay. So the book is called Human Justice, and the author actually goes by Human in the Lights. And he had reached out a few months ago. He's a University of Iowa College of Law graduate and was interested in coming back here and maybe partnering with the commission to hold a book discussion and conversation about the book. And I just, on Barnes and Noble, this is just a paragraph overview. Human Justice tells the compelling true story of a human rights lawyer's last trial in a 15-year career spent helping people living on the margins enforce civil rights and anti-discrimination laws. So that's just a brief overview of it. But so as you read it, as you finish it, if you could just let me know your thoughts so that I can get back in touch to one, see if the author is still interested, and if so, if there's interest on the commission to bring them here. I'm not, I don't recall whether, I kind of didn't think they were in state, but I thought they were close, but so just please let me know.
Awesome.
Thank you, Stephanie.
That's my
Um,
Saturday morning reading is that
Stephanie,
fly.
do we want to say anything about this handout?
Oh, yeah. So I have to get it in front of me. I might have given out all of mine. But
Here.
that's okay. I have it on my phone, so.
Can have mine.
So the League of Iowa Civil Rights Agencies is, thank you, that's very kind, is beginning to hold monthly Know Your Rights sessions. So the first one that we will be holding is on LGBTQIA plus rights, and the featured presenter will be Iowa Safe Schools. And it will join leaders from various statewide human and civil rights commissions and Iowa Safe Schools for an essential information session on legal protections and resources available to the LGBTQIA plus community. We will cover topics such as discrimination, healthcare access, supporting students, and other critical information. There'll also be a Q&A. So that will be held Wednesday, August 7th, 6 p.m. via Zoom. So You can listen to it or participate in your car, at home, or you don't have to be anywhere in person. And the QR code is there to register, and the news release should be going out tomorrow. So, and Iowa City is one of the members of the league, so.
Great.
So, but thank you, that's all I have.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Stephanie. We'll now move into our commissioner announcements, but I actually wondered if before we do, I can break agenda just for a second, just to hear any updates from the tabling that we had in June. We participated in the tabling for both Juneteenth and for Pride. And it's not on our agenda, so if you will just let me, if you want to break agenda with me to just reflect on those things before we go into our commissioner announcements. I wonder if anyone would like to talk about Juneteenth.
I want to talk about Juneteenth before he says anything, because I was at a table with Roger and he knows how to table. I learned so much from him about how to be a Barker for Juneteenth and the way he engaged kids and the way he engaged, oh, it was just great. Thank you. Go ahead and tell him what you did.
Well, I had that on my team member report. I think tabling with Mark was great. Juneteenth was great. And I always thank Stephanie because she gets us the most fun and attractive swags.
Yes.
So we can get people to our table. And when we get them to our table, then we can talk to them about human rights and all those things. But we have the best swags that we can attract people to our table. So thank you to Stephanie. One suggestion that I have, it's possibly maybe making a brochure, not even a brochure, maybe a card that will have on one side talking about the duty of the commission and on the other side talking about the responsibility of the Office of the Equity.
So Deanna and Liz, actually, for their event, there is a brochure,
Okay.
Yes.
but it just, I guess they debuted it.
Yep.
So they were, and so
So-
not everybody has seen it, but I'll make sure to get everyone.
Good,
copies.
because
Yeah.
I think that's the things
It's
that
great.
people need to know, the difference between that. So, I think it'll be great when we tabling events, as we're giving out free stuff and things like that. It's also giving people those things, but it was amazing to have Mark there and to table that Juneteenth.
But
It was-
adjacent to us, there was a newspaper out of Des Moines.
Yes,
And I can't remember the woman's name, but it was rage. And it was such a good awakening
Yeah.
to, that Black rage isn't dead. It's alive and well in this paper. And it was great to bring it home and read it and remember, oh yeah, I remember how that was. The one thing I want you to know, if Roger LaSala on Juneteenth asks you, what day is this? Do you know the answer to the question? Say the answer, Roger.
it's Freedom Day.
Freedom Day. But you have to say it with a grandfather's. drop.
Yes, you
Freedom
do.
Day.
Freedom Day. So
Great.
that's how we got people to our table. So it was great. We had a great time.
Awesome.
And I was exhausted and Roger picked up by himself.
Mark left. He had to go home. So.
Well,
But we had such a good time.
yeah.
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you both for your efforts to do that. Yeah, thank you. Dr. Liz, I wonder if you want to talk about
Yes.
Pride tabling.
Yes, and again, the swag, it was the swag. My daughters were there to help and the spot was perfect. The parade was passed right in front of us. So the spot was really perfect. I don't know why I wore a suit, but I did. And everybody wanted to ask, what do we do?
Mhm.
Why do we do it? How can they volunteer? And then can I get a flag? It was great. And everything was gone.
Yeah.
We were able to share the love with absolutely everyone. There were lines at our table.
Yep.
It was
Yep.
pretty amazing. And I'm wearing the pronouns now. But she had an enormous amount of many identities and pronouns that the young people were like, you are eating. And I know that because I have, my daughters are teens. That means we're pretty cool and we are rocking it.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, with all the different, opportunities to choose your pronouns. So, and then the stickers, like I did not have enough swag. It was like, things were just really just great,
Yeah.
really great.
Stickers, tattoos.
Yeah.
Big bags, small bags,
Yeah.
cups, mugs.
Don't you want a bag?
But
Put
the
your swag-
commissioner, like everything that had our logo on too, it
Yes.
was not just, Pride, it was everything else too, the cups, the bags.
I am a little,
Frisbees.
Oh, yeah.
I am a little pin averse. The little pins that have the
Yeah.
needle on them.
Yeah.
So I buried a baby who swallowed one of those things. I just
Oh,
don't like it.
We only give those to adults.
Yeah.
From there.
I don't
Yeah.
know, we're having, oh, for
Well-
Juneteenth.
Those little
Yeah.
June
Okay,
15th.
good to
yeah.
know.
So,
Then-
so I have to share. So, Dr. Liz and I, we shared the day, if you
Yes.
will. And I think I imagine that the afternoon would still stay at that same level. Immediately, like, I think in hindsight, I would have like helped to relieve you sooner, but because it was so energized around the
Yes.
time of the parade.
right.
And then a little bit after that, but then as the afternoon was continuing, people kind of move away from that space. They move into other
Mm.
activities of the day. Maybe they don't want to talk as much anymore. So, and also we had no swag. So I arrived, there was an empty table.
Roger.
So, it wasn't the easiest way. I just sort of sat there and tried to get people's attention. No, it was, with my lovely complexion, but, no, it was great to be out there. And, I think it was a good lesson to remember for next year
Right.
in terms of like when there's a capacity need
Yeah.
for the commission
Yeah.
during certain parts of the day for that event, but also it maybe sounds like there's some lessons that we can remember from,
Yeah.
Juneteenth too.
Yeah.
I wanted to add that by participating in this, though I come as a human rights commissioner and people might suppose with my little pin that I'm fluent on all of this, you learn so much
Yeah.
from the people who are with you. If you just pay attention to what they're wondering or what they're telling,
Mhm.
it was just a very enriching experience.
Yeah.
It was great. And I think we had even a bigger turnout this year than last year.
That's because
And I
you were
think-
there, man.
And I think those events are gonna keep growing.
Yeah,
each
that
year.
was pretty full, pretty full.
Yeah, this year, I think for Pride, we had 21,000.
Yeah.
I think
My wife
it's
volunteered.
interesting to wonder, I'm prolonging this, I don't mean it, but there's a pride parade. There's not a Juneteenth parade. And I don't know what that would mean, but it's just something for me to wonder about. Because in our history, there's horror about parades regarding race. Enough said.
Yeah, I wonder if there have been other conversations about that in the community, actually, that rings a little bit of a bell,
Mhm.
Mark.
Okay, thank you.
But maybe we can follow up on that. All right, thank you for letting me add that to our agenda, mid-agenda. So now we'll move into our commissioner announcements. I wonder if there's anyone who would like to go first and share any.
I
interesting
came
updates.
prepared.
Great.
One of the things you have to know is that I'm now 75 years old and I'm retired,
Congratulations.
but my pastor left, retired from our church, and so there's 4 of us retired guys there that are filling in. So I've added responsibilities. Nevertheless, I like to go to bed exhausted. I'm on the Common Future Committee for our Rotary. That's the DEI, what we decided to call it, Common Future, and Rotary was wonderfully represented in the Pride Parade. We got all the 4 Rotaries together. We had a truck. We had a lot of people walking. Every Wednesday morning, I continue to meet with the Iowa Interfaith Alliance, Faithful Voices for Racial Justice. That's inspiring for me. It currently is developing a learning tool for congregations and communities on the topic of Christian nationalism. With 2 other residents of Iowa City, I helped found what we're now calling the Interfaith Alliance, Exposing Christian Nationalism. And we've scheduled 2 showings of the movie God and Country. One is August 25th at 3 o'clock at St. Andrew's Presbyterian Church. August 25th, 3 o'clock, St. Andrews. And the other is Sunday, September 8th at 2 o'clock at the Iowa City Library. The executive director of Iowa Interfaith Alliance will introduce the August 25th one and lead the conversation. I've toured again the African American Museum in Cedar Rapids. I already talked about Juneteenth. On June 17th, I went to the Juneteenth prayer service at St. Thomas More Catholic Church. I was expecting one thing. I found something else. And I asked the priest afterwards, would you consider showing God and country? And he said, oh, that would be too political. We won't show that here. And I was sorry to hear that. I didn't, because I still don't think of it as political. I have preached to expose Christian nationalism on July 7th at Gloria Day here in Iowa City, and again on July 14th at St. Peter in Grimes. And as I mentioned, I attended the Iowa City Foreign Relations Committee. I've gone to theater, so I saw Come From Away. If you know this show, it's so important. It talks about what a community can do when they're called upon to do it. It's a wonderful story. I attended a play called Ugly Lies, the Bones, and it was a story about a woman coming back from Afghanistan badly damaged from an explosion and how her family and friends treated her. I also saw the play The Outsider, which was a lieutenant governor that's running for governor, and they need somebody to run for lieutenant governor, and they decide anybody will do. And so they let the receptionist run for lieutenant governor, and they have cue cards so that she can speak political speak. Purple card, oh, these are tough times. Green card, there's plenty of everything. Those kind of idiocy. Saw the movie Inside Out 2. I recommend it to you. It shows the depth of human experience. I'm reading 3 books and now 4. White Poverty by William Barber. The 100 Years War on Palestine by Rashid Khalidi. Did I pronounce that correctly? Close enough. The Pursuit of Justice, the Jurisprudence of Human Rights in Islam by Mahir Hathout. I've got plenty to do. And you guys inspire me. I'll try to keep up.
Thanks, Mark.
We can't even keep up with Mark.
Well, you guys are all working.
No, we can. It's been 2 months too, Mark. I would
That's
expect nothing
true.
else from you.
Maybe you can just squeeze me in for some
I see
coffee
you.
and
I see you. You're smiling now, but you were the face of serenity, man.
Great. Who else would like to share?
now after that.
I got to attend a Unity University cohort, which was really interesting. I learned a lot of things. One was I got to learn from Tony Wilson, actually, who is I believe a priest and a retired Des Moines school teacher. So a lot of the things he talked about was more so controlling your thoughts before they become emotions. I took some notes, actually. So the first thing was a belief system, having that type of belief system. And then it then falls into having a perception over something, and then that perception then turns into a thought. That thought then impacts the chemicals within your brain, which tend to activate feelings and emotions, which then lead to actions, which then lead to reality consequences. He kind of gave me like an example, it's like staying at home, then going into the yard, and then going out to the neighborhood. When you're at home, you feel safe, content, and full. When you're in the yard, there's risks of, getting more angry, more frustrated because, you're not in your comfort zone anymore, like your home. And then when you're out in the neighborhood, you have more of the risk of having all different types of emotions: depression, despair, fear, even happiness. But it's the same thing as the thought process. Being able to control your thought process before it impacts you in reality is the key to being able to control your emotions and your thought, being able to control your thoughts before they become emotions, which then become actions. Which was really great. I got to learn a lot from Tony Wilson. I also got to speak with Rachel Rockwell, who actually
Nice.
she great lady. I got to meet her for the first time that day. Besides that, I last Wednesday, I believe, I got to go to the Davenport Recycling Sorting Center. It smells how it sounds, very much. But no, even though it smelled terrible, it was a great place to learn a lot. Like there a lot of machines we got to walk through, walk kind of like through where the workers worked and above these factory lines. It was a lot of walking, a lot of twists and turns. It was like a whole maze, but it was really interesting to learn from them and see how like the recycling in Iowa City and the Johnson County area, how it's all sorted out and how it's properly disposed of.
Yes, I participated. So the youth who support the youth is pretty amazing. City High has a group, they develop a nonprofit to support kids in elementary school and high school who are in STEM and don't have enough to buy the supplies. So they decided to, get together and invite all their friends, and all their friends are either show choir, band, acting, and other groups come together and to sing. And they were at the Chauncey Park last week on Friday. They sold, cupcakes and cookies and donations, and they all decided to sing for like 2 hours, and they raised a little over $1,000. So they're pretty amazing. So yeah, I just wanted to share that. And my daughter was a singer there, so that's how I know about it. But they put it all on their social media. So the group is called the Golden Beakers, Golden Beakers nonprofit. Yeah.
Yes, I can add a few things. So there is a local organization, it's called Hope, which is initiated and established by Palestinians from Gaza who lives here in Coralville. The main mission is just to try to assist in any capacity those, who are suffering in Gaza. So they're gonna do like part of it, try to build a hospital or try to do a telehealth program. They were successful to get some formula and baby supplies, into Gaza. They have been doing like fundraising dinners, not only, they did their first one here in Iowa City, I think a month ago. So I keep forgetting the dates and that. But I participated with them and they were able, like, I think they collected around $7,000 that night. So it was successful. And so they're on the track, to keep going and to expand themselves, to grow a little bit more and to provide more to the community over there. And I'm just amazed of the people who attended.
I'm
Like,
so glad that it was at a Methodist church,
Yes, yes. And,
building bridges.
yes, and the Iowans for Palestine, which is another local, organization here, and the Iowans Actions for Palestine, all of them were there involved, for the same sake, the same, mission. It just, warms your heart to be in a foreign country, in a Western country where people understand the catastrophe that you go through, and they're willing to put their time, their effort, their money to be just there for the people who really deserve it. Something else that I participated in, or I got the chance to attend, was Public Space One. They were featuring, they sent an invitation for the Human Rights Commissioners. It's like futurism, I forgot the title, futurism. It's by the Webster group. It's just talented young, artists from around the states who travel around. They did little clips and videos, and they had a screening at the Chauncey. So I went to it. It's just a futuristic look from Muslim perspectives, but it's not the mainstream. Like, it's more into like different visions, different backgrounds, different, ideologies that people they can come within, and they stemmed out from Islam. So it was something interesting. They have the exhibit going on right now at the Public Space One. They have an immersive like experience that you can go and the artists, get a chance to take the Merriam Girls Club to meet the artist who was working on it, and she did a wonderful job. If you would like to visit, I think there's gonna stay.
It says July 1st through August 18th with the Jamboree on August 17th.
Yes,
Yeah.
So if you would like to go and stop there, it just, pieces of art that were collected from all around the world and from, different, as I said, different, backgrounds and ethnicities and experiences. But it is nice to see something like this here in town. Like, it's not the usual thing. But I said, do not let the title deceive you, because Islam is not limited or restricted to specific age or time or, events. So 1,400 years ago, it's still Islam is Islam, the same foundation, the same basis, the same, convictions we have. It's just the people who are different. And you are still within the fold of Islam, but you're presenting yourself in different ways. So if you get a chance, just go over there and just look at it, enjoy it. Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
And if anybody missed the email, I can resend, because it was sent, I think, back in June.
Yes.
So I can resend it.
I actually, I may have missed the email. If you could resend it, I'd be grateful.
Okay.
That'd be great. Thank you. Can I go? I don't have
Yes.
much. One of the things I just doing, Juneteenth and tabling with Mark. One of the things that I got, commissioner, people, we need to be more in the community, taking part in a lot of the community events going around there. And people need to see us more in, if we're talking about human rights, we need to be in the community where the people are. So one of the things. I like to go to a lot of council, my wife and I like to go to councils. And this past Saturday, we went to Kebmo's council. I don't know if you like Kebmo. And two songs that Kebmo sing that resonate with me this past weekend. One of them was the immigrant song.
Yes,
You know,
we
you go-
belong.
We
are
belong,
home.
we always talk about immigrant come over here.
Yes.
We work hard, we build houses, we build work and we belong. But sometimes when something happen, we always tell immigrant to go back where they come from.
Yeah, so
And
good.
and the second thing, Kebmo, it's kind of like an inspiration as we're talking about, people fighting about Biden, getting out of power, the campaign and things like that. And Kebmo sings, put a woman in power,
Put a woman in charge.
put a woman in charge,
Okay.
and
So
and
good.
that's the story of my house. See, I grew up with 4 older sisters. And I raised 5 daughters and 2 bonus daughters. And I coached girls soccer for over 20 years. So women always been in charge of my life and my household. So it's I'm ready to have a woman in charge. So I'm ready.
My wife management.
So, yeah. So that's my report.
Thank you.
Yeah, okay. I can go. I attended a conference in London where I spoke about working with children who are displaced or experiencing war, trauma, any kind of grief. It was a great conference. I still feel that psychology as a field is very colonized, and so was questioning a little bit of how a lot of crime theories or antisocial children and a lot of those theories by famous psychologists are all about, well, they were deprived, they were poor, and these were, white male privileged rich psychologists writing about probably poor children. But so challenging some of those questions and thoughts, it was a great experience. Also doing a class which a professor just let me sit in at the LGBTQ clinic was a good experience learning more about the clinic. It's unfortunately doesn't now serve children, but it used to. Hopefully, with laws changing, that might. They're still hoping to change some of that. I did training for suicide prevention recently. Highly recommend that if people are interested. It's not meant for therapists alone. It's meant for anybody who would work potentially or would want to be of support for people who might be experiencing or people close to them experiencing suicidal thought. And the training is called Assist. It's from Canada and great opportunity. It's not free, but our department paid for it, so helps. Then there's a Problem Management Plus conference that happened that I attended recently. That is a culturally sensitive mental health intervention that pays people to do the training and then train other people within communities. So this right now, at least, is very specifically targeting the newly arrived immigrants, refugees, asylum seekers, because they don't have mental health care easily accessible and are in high need. So you could be a trainer and then you could get paid to train someone from those communities. And then once you train them, they get paid to give 5 sessions for people within their community. So it's, the language barrier issues and all of those things can be worked on. So I'm a trainer in that. And if anybody's interested, would be happy to get you in touch with the right people. Yeah, and I liked what you shared about the immigrant, and the first thing that comes is like leave and go back to your own country. And I also attended this Iowa Summer Writing Festival, some event there, which happens here, and people from across the US and the world come in there. And I met someone who said to me, "We need you," more than go back. So that was a nice feeling. Yeah, I think that's all the update.
Doug, any updates from you?
Well, I've been in Augusta, Georgia now for 3 weeks and here for another 3. So not a whole lot. But Pride, I was there with the booth for Hawkeye Pride, the LGBTQ alumni group that I'm the president of. I've done that booth for 3 years now, and this is the biggest Pride in Iowa City that I've seen. It was outstanding. So thank you, Liz and Kelsey, for manning the HRC booth. I wasn't able to get away and get over to help you, but yeah, just I can attest to the energy of that day. It was just outstanding. And a point of pride for our community. It is the second longest running community pride festival and pride parade. So just a great testament to the long history of the support of human rights in Iowa City that those of us on the commission, work to uphold. Other than that, there was an event that I wanted to go to but didn't get to because I was out. But the San Francisco Gay Men's Chorus was in Iowa City a week or 2 ago. They did a joint concert with the choir of Eastern Iowa. The San Francisco Gay Men's Chorus is probably the thing I remember them for, in addition to being a great group of musicians, is there's a picture of them from the early 80s where there's probably 100 or more in their group standing on stage in a concert, and then there's a picture of that group 10-12 years later, and they have blacked out every member of the choir that had died from AIDS, and there were maybe a dozen left. So it just was it's a very powerful visual of the impact of that crisis on the community, on the LGBTQIA community, which went mostly ignored for many years by the U.S. government and the Reagan administration. So just a really iconic group in LGBTQ history, just for that image that is so famous. So it was great to have them in Iowa City. Wish I could have gone, but it's great to have those sorts of events in town. Again, wish I could be there for the Gaza event. That would be that sounds fantastic. So I hope you can all make it. But yeah, those are the updates from me from Georgia. So thanks.
Reporting in from Georgia. Thank you, Doug.
Yep.
I can just close this up by saying a few quick things. So I am coming straight out of a week in Mexico last week where I was meeting with contributors to an edited volume that I've been working on with 3 other editors, including myself. And we are almost done with it. And it's been a really career transformative, but also kind of life transformative process, because we've been exploring the intersections of mass violence and urban violence. And so understanding how violence is occurring within cities, but also what can be done, how people are affected based on their identity. And I would say, like, one of the things, it's hard for me to talk about without getting emotional, but really revealing some of the unseen violence that so many face. I mean, there was a statistic from 2022, so it's out of date now, that something like 80% of all violent death in the world actually occurs outside of conflict zones. So we often hear about those who lose their lives within conflict, which is awful and terrible. And also at the same time, we as a society, as a culture, tend to accept especially situations of violence within larger urban spaces, tend to accept that there's nothing that can be done, but actually there can be things done. And a lot of those situations of violence are rooted in identity, both in how we, as a society, justify the types of violence that are acceptable and justify the prioritization of responses. So I'm totally transformed by this group. I'm really excited. I think we'll probably hopefully have a real book by the end of this year. And then I had the chance to go to DC in June for 2 different meetings. One on cities and peace agenda at the United Nations, but also thinking about the US role within multilateralism and thinking about the opportunities there. So really seeing the agenda for peace, and again, these kind of the global need for peace and reduction of violence, but how that's really held by community leaders. Community leaders understand where the violence is occurring. They're working with individuals they care for, they understand. And so bringing up a lot of that messaging and that insight into powerful spaces. And then lastly, I promise, we've been doing some work on disinformation. And so I was also at a conference we hosted with American University on upcoming research on identity-based disinformation. So basically how through online spaces, individuals are specifically targeted because of their identity. And in some cases, they're specifically attacked in order to silence something that they are trying to say to power. And so really, if you think about journalists, there's some female journalists, for example, who have been swatted, who have had their identity exposed, who have had really violence that they've experienced, mostly because they're dangerous. Their ideas are dangerous, if you will, because they're threatening those in power. So that was a really meaningful summer. It's been very busy, been on the road a lot. And I just want to note one thing. So I have a colleague at the Stanley Center who's working with Film Scene on an upcoming film screening on August 11th. It's called The Last Tourist. I am not involved in this, but I'm just so excited about what they're doing. So this is about how tourists are, it says travels at a tipping point. Tourists are unintentionally destroying the very things they've come to see, and that over-tourism has magnified its impact on the environment, wildlife, and vulnerable communities around the world. Human rights are related to the climate intrinsically. And so I think if anyone's interested, I just wanted to share that with you all. Thank you.
What was the word you used about the woman? Did you say swatted?
Yes,
What does that word mean?
I'll send it to you.
Thank you.
Okay, it's past 7 p.m. I'm gonna go ahead and entertain a motion for us to adjourn.
So move.
Thanks, Mark. Any seconds?
I second.
Thank you, Liz. All right, I assume we're all in favor of adjourning. Oh, everyone in favor?
Aye.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.